What is something people don't realize is a privilege? Buying groceries without having to carefully consider prices. Just having dependable, safe hot and cold running water on demand. Being able to quit a job without fear of losing financial stability. Hot showers. Holy shit. I was homeless for a year and a half, and there was a time I blew $50 on a motel room specifically to take a hot shower. I remember pulling off my cold wet socks and just collapsing into the hot water, sobbing. Felt like all my problems went away immediately. Having your own room, space. A lot of people and especially families around the world has to share living spaces. There was a thread on Reddit recently where a family couldn't give their teenage daughter a room of her own cause their house only had 2 rooms and they were poor. Everyone said the parent was an asshole cause the teen had a right to it and they should move to a bigger house, outside their area to amend that. Or worse. Should have aborted the younger kid if they couldn't provide separate rooms for 2 kids. Sit was frocking insane. Being able to enjoy total silence. Frock tinnitus. Having your parents to fall back onto for help or advice during adulthood. I've been estranged since I've been 16. Life ain't easy navigating the world alone. Edit. Thank you everyone for the awards and sharing your stories. I've been feeling quite down about this topic in the past few weeks, but reading everyone's story here makes me feel somewhat less alone in the world. Sewers. A literal city of tunnels you never see. Draining and moving water in and out of your town, city. Completely hidden from view. It's a frockin' luxury and you'd be surprised how much of the world doesn't have that while the rest of the world never even thinks about it. Having access to technology. Edit. Referring to electronics. Living in a country with access to not only basic needs, but conveniences and luxuries as well. Edit. Autocorrect sucks. Going to school. Getting as much sleep as you need. Decent mental health. While some people seem to breeze through their life goals, a lot of people suffer in ways that prevent them or slow them down. It's a privilege to have most of your emotional needs met and have the stability needed to focus on developing your artistry skills. I noticed that I was privileged with eating to my taste. My dad told me how in Mexico they ate what they had. It was rural farm life. I mean, he continued to eat that way even living here in America. He would buy me and my sister whatever we wanted and make eggs and beans for himself. I can eat Mexican food, Japanese food, Chinese, burgers, Italian, whatever really. 1. Going to university. 2. Being able to just do university while you're at university. This might sound silly to some, but the other night I decided to change my bedding randomly and realized how lucky I am to be able to swap to another clean set on a whim. Clean laundry. Multiple blankets. A whole drawer of socks. Those things make me feel rich. A lot of people don't have another set of clothes or a clean, safe bed to sleep in. Not having to worry about war directly affecting your life and livelihood. Clean water. Having caring parents. Going years without cancer or sickness. Having access to dentists in childhood. Toilets. Being able-bodied. Maybe it's cliché, but seriously. All that can change in less than an instant. You never realize how much you take health for granted until it's screwed up. Eating 3 meals a day. Having loving parents in a healthy marriage. Running water 24/7 every day. Being able to spend time and money on hobbies. Air conditioning. Weekends off work. I think about this every Saturday when the gardener comes to mow. He brings his son to help him. My kids are sitting in their PJs working on coding projects, while his son is out helping mow lawns. That is his kid's Saturday off school versus mine. The danger is that someday, if my kids become programmers or whatever white-collar job, they will look back and say, it's because I worked hard to gain these skills, taking for granted the privilege of the time to do it. Running water 24/7 and most of 365 days. Stable electricity, the kind that doesn't shoot light bulbs out of their sockets. Sane traffic patterns. Mostly clean fresh air. Stocked shelves in the supermarket. Choosing your diet. Driving a vehicle. Having the freedom to focus on things like hobbies or finding your passion instead of just basic human needs like keeping a roof over your head and food in your stomach. Every now and then I remember that I literally have to pay money for the privilege to see correctly. I would go insane if I didn't have my glasses available. So on the one hand, I'm very fortunate that I have eye care and can get glasses, but on the other hand some MFERs get to see crystal clear for free. Having a pet. No matter your socioeconomic status or location, having a pet means you have that much extra space, time and financial freedom. Having a loving parent and a partner. Driver's license. Being in the life of family members. I have yeeted people from my life who have made big surprised Pikachu faces for things like stealing from me, emotional abuse, hitting me even though they didn't mean it, they were just drunk, upset, emotional, whatever. I give zero frocks about blood. If you want a place in my life, you keep it by being a decent person, and that goes triple for relationships with my kids. Edit. I do not let people around my kids just because they are blood related. If they're abusive or creepy, they don't get a free pass to be near my children. Having no gut or digestive issues. I can tell you it's easier for people to accept when I say, I don't eat it because I don't like the taste, rather than saying, I can't eat it because it makes my stomach hurt. For some reason, people think that because they can eat anything without any issues, the rest of the world can too. And if you say you can't, you're some sort of pretentious gluten-free hippie f***ck tard who thinks they're better than everyone. Some people just don't know how lucky they are, yet they eat trash all the time. Treat your bodies well, people, especially if they work 100% correctly. Being mentally healthy and having a reliable routine. Some people don't seem to realize how much of a privilege travel is. There are a lot of privileges within that broad category. 2. Some passports allow holders to travel pretty much anywhere they wish. Men can sometimes travel alone to places that women might rightly feel unsafe visiting. LGBTQ+ people are sometimes at greater risk than others, depending on the destination. White people are sometimes treated better as tourists than people of color. There are layers and layers of privilege in travel, and I think sometimes certain people forget that. Having both your parents alive when you're past the age of 30. Being able to walk outside without having to look both ways for safety. Or, to put it simpler, living in a relatively safe area. Loving parents. Growing up in a first world country. Having the freedom to marry who you want. Being able to publicly criticize your country's leader. Going on vacation. Many people take it for granted and behave like you couldn't live without going on vacation twice a year, at least in Middle Europe. Well, yeah, you can. I've been on real vacation like twice in my life, and I'm 23 years old. After my country's descent into a shithole in the span of a year. Power. As in electricity. For more than an hour a day, fuel for cars, cheap transportation, good healthcare, meat, snacks, axe, water for hygiene, even free drinking water now that I think about it. Literally anything that is above $1 at this point. If we're talking you were born with it, then mental health. As a person who's lived his entire life with a mental illness, I can testify to how mental illness makes everything so much harder. From school to relationships to careers. Then add on the privilege of actually having money and access to mental health care. I'm extremely fortunate that when the bottom dropped out for me, my family had the money to support me and pay for hospitalization and treatment when I was unemployed with no insurance. Otherwise I'd be dead. Many people don't have that, or even have the bare minimum of a family that understands mental illness is not a moral failing or a matter of insufficient willpower. Being a native speaker of English. It's the dominant language when it comes to technology, entertainment, and academia. Being fluent in it gives you a huge advantage over someone who only speaks an obscure language. Being jobless for an extended period of time because those around you can afford to support you. Housing. Not having to pay bribes to survive. Health and safety codes on buildings, food, roads, etc. Safety.